As entrepreneurs, we love the creative process, don't we? The idea of bringing to life something we're passionate about and sharing it with others is often a dream come true. But that's not all there is to it. You need to put systems in place to sustain the business you love. Today, I'm going to introduce you to one of our eWomen Radio Network hosts, Nancy O'Keefe, whose show, When Opportunity Knocks, features topics and successful entrepreneurs who help you recognize and capitalize on opportunities when they show up in your life. Please welcome the dynamic Nancy O'Keefe. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you, Kim. Glad to be here.
I love the name of your show, When Opportunity Knocks. Tell me, what's the inspiration for it?
Well, I feel like women don't really understand or are able to really see the opportunity when it comes before them. So I wanted to do a show around that, and I thought When Opportunity Knocks was a great name because we always say, when opportunity knocks, what are you going to do? Are you ready?
That's right.
Are you prepared?
So tell me about you came from the school of hard knocks, So, walk us through about your journey as a professional woman in the corporate world.
Well, I started out in the 70s, and I went to work during the time when we had double-digit inflation and gas lines and hamburger was too expensive to buy. And in addition to that, my husband was ill and I had to work. So I went out into the workforce looking for a career. I needed to make some serious money, and unfortunately, the only job that I could get at the time was a secretarial receptionist job making $85 a week. So it was very difficult. Women were not viewed as being serious about their careers back in those days. And, it was a tough road. So there were lots of things that we pioneered in those days. There was no daycare. There was no maternity leave. Heck, there wasn't even any maternity insurance. So there were many obstacles to overcome, not only to be accepted in the workforce, but to be considered a professional and paid a decent wage. And actually, we're still struggling with that some 40 years later.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was also one of those back in the 70s and 80s, so I know exactly what you're talking about, what the market was. Different for women, obviously, than it was for, your male counterparts. You've got today you're a multi-million-dollar success story. You've got, is it 50 employees in 4 states?
Yes, I've actually retired from that job at this point, but yes, I did open an outsourcing firm, and it very quickly grew to 50 employees in 4 states. And one of the things I think I'm most proud of is that we created a situation where working moms could work from home and still honor their conscious choice to stay at home, be there to put the kids on the bus, be there to take the kids off the bus, and do meaningful work for a meaningful wage. We gave them full benefits, just as though they were out doing something in the 9-to-5 world. And we started doing that around the year 2000. Working at home was not as easy as it is today. We had to build the technology to make that happen. And we were really pioneers in that area too. So we gave a lot of women great career opportunities so they didn't miss a beat in their career and they could still stay home and do the family things that they chose to do.
Yeah, the studies that I see also talk about how women are outpacing men with starting businesses. What's the story behind that? And do you find that women are more successful in business than men who are starting up businesses?
I think women start businesses because they get frustrated with what they're able to achieve in the corporate world. And that's the reason I think they start them more often than men. Their businesses fail more often than men too, and that is probably due to the fact that they have difficulty getting capital. Most women start a business with a very small loan, or family members help them out, or they have to finance it on a credit card. And you can only get so far with that. So I think that oftentimes cash flow and just having enough cash is a problem for women business owners, and that's why many of them fail.
Yeah,
men on the other hand don't have those issues. They're able to get credit more easily and able to get those loans more easily
Yeah.
than women.
With your show and the opportunity with the discussion, the insights, the wisdom that you share, tell us more about the show and what people can expect when they tune in.
Well, I love having women on that have done incredible things. It's nice for us to hear stories about other people because often we can identify our own situation in someone else's story. And not only can it give us the motivation to move forward and overcome whatever obstacles we're facing in the moment, but it also gives us insight into how women did it. And one of the things I try to point up in the show after we hear the story is what skills, what experiences, what leaps of faith did you have to take? What support did you need at home in order to make that a reality? If women can hear how others have done it, I hope it goes a long way toward helping them get where they want to go in their business and their career.
Yeah, I love that story around how when Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire, how they would dance, and she did everything he did backwards, and I tell you, I've had 16 years of working, very with a high level of engagement with women in business, and I just love the spirit of women, what women bring to the business process and their point of view. Do you feel today, like right now, what would you say is the state of the union as it relates to women and business? Do you find that women feel more heard today, more appreciated? What is it that you hear from people, women specifically, as you work with them?
Somewhat. I did a primary research study about a year and a half ago, and women are still saying they're not seen, heard, and respected in the marketplace. Some of that, I believe, falls on women themselves. We need to step up in the area of confidence. We have a lot of good things we bring to the table, and yet many women are hesitant to talk about their accomplishments, and they don't understand the value of what they bring to the table, so they're not comfortable talking about it and basically selling it. That's a real problem. I think women have been socialized and raised all their lives, at least in my generation, baby boomers, to be polite and not to be too aggressive. That's not looked upon in a favorable way. So trying to get out there and sell yourself feels like the wrong thing to do when nothing could be further from the truth. And I think that really holds women back.
What are some of the tips that you could pass on to women business owners, the things that you really want them to get, that you've put in practice, you've used, to fuel your success? What are some of those tips?
Be bold and just do it. Get out there and do it. When I started my outsourcing company, I didn't have a company. I didn't have an employee. I didn't even have office space. Someone came to me from another part of my working life. They had a big problem they needed to solve, and they thought I was somebody that could solve it. So the big piece of advice is just say yes. I said yes. I didn't know how I was going to put any of that together, but I knew if I said yes, I was confident enough in my abilities that I knew it would fall into place, or I could call on people that I knew to help me get it in place. So don't be hesitant. Don't feel like you're not ready. If something comes your way, just say yes. If you're interested in doing it, figure it out after you agree that you can do it. And I think that's the biggest thing you can do and to be successful today.
You know what? I can tell you had a real cool swagger when you were doing this, because that's I love that philosophy. Be bold, say yes. Take us down. I mean, do you have any what you would call debilitating, challenging moments in running the businesses? Anything you can pass on from that standpoint?
Oh my God, every day. Probably the biggest one for me was there were 50 people depending on every decision I made. And that was sometimes could be paralyzing. And you just had to push through that fear that you were going to do the wrong thing for everybody. And, I think there's a lot of cases where you're just, there aren't real manuals about what to do when you have to make tough decisions around your business, and you just do the best you can. You have the most honorable intentions, the highest integrity, and you just have to believe it's all going to work out, and it usually does.
Stephen Covey and his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of his habits that I really like is the whole sharpening the saw concept. That you can hit that log, the story he gave about, the log cutter. Remember that one where you hit the log and he was competing against, two guys were competing against each other. And the guy who stopped to sharpen the saw was able to chop down the tree much faster and more efficiently than the person who was bigger and stronger, but just kept pounding away. How do you sharpen the saw?
That's right. I think the biggest and most important thing is to stay relevant and stay in the mode of learning. You have to keep learning and sharpening your skills, just like that saw. For me, I work a lot in technology. I help small business owners implement systems in their business, and there's always some new thing coming down the pike, and you need to be able to have the skills and the vision to be able to understand if it's going to be a technology that can solve a problem. So it's staying fresh, it's staying relevant, it's being in learning mode and staying crisp in terms of what you know, and being able to move along with changes, which is something that everybody needs to do today. Change is at such a rapid pace. I love that little book, Who Moved My Cheese, where the two mice go and feed on the cheese every day, and all of a sudden the cheese is gone. And one of the mice says, "Oh, well, I'll just keep coming back every day and there'll be some cheese for me at some point." And the other one's smart enough to know the cheese isn't coming back and they've got to go out and find some new cheese. And that's really it's a great metaphor for what goes on in business.
It sure is. Let me ask, I just got to know, was there a defining moment in your success? Was there a defining moment where your personal resolve to achieve, to break through, really was a test for you? Was there one?
I don't know if there was one or not. I've always had a lot of confidence in myself. I think that was, my son once told me, "Mom, you have a lot of confidence, maybe too much," which I thought was an interesting comment. But I guess I just dig down deep inside and I don't give up. And that's there are certainly times when I wanted to give up. Everybody has those moments when it just seems way too hard and like too much effort, or you just can't do it. And you have to just push through those moments and dig deep down into your personality and your character and pull out all the stops and just keep going.
So what do you do? I just got to know, so what do you do when you're having one of those, kind of stinking thinking moments, right? Or maybe where you're feeling down and you just want to close out the world. I mean, what do you do to snap out of that?
Well, sometimes I do close out the world for a little while. And, I shut everything off and I might just go read a book or even take a nap. Or sometimes you just need to clear your mind. And then you come back and look at the problem and you have sort of fresh eyes. And geez, it usually doesn't look quite as bad when you do that. So that's one of the ways that I do it. I might just take 15 minutes away from it, go for a walk or a ride in the car or something. And when I come back and look at it, it was like, wow, what was the big deal? I know what to do about this. So just taking that little break sometimes.
Yeah, you just got to take that little break sometimes. So listen, as we wrap up, is there any parting statement or anything you'd like to leave with the audience? And let me challenge you this way. If there's only one thing that they get from you, what do you want them to walk away with from our little discussion?
You can do anything you want to do if you want to do it bad enough. And I really mean that. I did it, and I'm nobody special. I'm just like everybody else. But if you really want to do something, then do it, because you can. You have it inside of you, and you shouldn't allow anything or anyone get in your way and stop you. It's not your inability. It's the negativity or the naysayers that are around you that keep you from doing the things you want to do. So don't listen to them. Just listen to yourself.
Well, you heard it here. I'm co-signing that. That's wonderful. I love it. You're so right. We've been talking to Nancy OKeefe. Her show is When Opportunity Knocks on the eWomen Radio Network. We are so privileged and thrilled and grateful that you're a part of this great network, because it wouldn't be as great as it is if you weren't there with us.
Well, thank you. And I so enjoy doing my show. I've met so many great people, interviewing them, and at the convention last year. And I look forward to seeing you there again next year.
You got it. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thanks.